What up, my boyka? Drink a little water. What up, my boyka? This is a afternoon class, and Bill, brother, asked me, asked some questions. Drink a little water. What up, my boyka? Excuse me. Wow. Gotta bring up a lot of stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna do this from time to time. You know, I want to keep this in that whole template structure, class structure template. You know, also I'm gonna put the link if anybody wants to come on in. You're more than welcome to come on in. Yeah, just for participation, but I'm still gonna keep my class going. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Those of you who wants to come on in. Respectfully, you know what I'm saying? Don't interrupt the class, the teacher, or the orator. I don't like to use a couple of words, so I try to keep it. So yes, there's a lot of other descriptions that I could have put in here in title. First of all, I want to bid you all maboika. Itunokina ati aono, all my sisters and brothers, and warhab, zamautatu, and zamal, my sisters and brothers, zamalu, sabir. Bienvenido, mi hermana, mi hermanos. So welcome again. You're all welcome to come on in and whatever. So this is just going to be an afternoon class, and I'm going to try to do it more about this time here. Try to get it exactly on 12/11, which is my birthday, but I'm trying to get that class going in. You know what I'm saying? Just not a class, like a sort of like a seminar, seminars. I remember going to universities. You had your class, you had your lab, and then you had what they call the seminars, where where a speaker would come in or a particular professor, a particular person will come in and speak on certain subjects and stuff like that. Okay, so I want to get started today. I try to reach out. Now, I woke up and my Facebook had a notification saying that one of my videos were flagged for copyright infringements, and it was deleted from 73 countries. I'm like, why? What video is that? I thought I took down a lot of those videos that I had musical content. Well, I still got to look into that video a little more, but so far what I have seen in that video, there is no musical content. So I don't know what kind of copyright they're talking about. Maybe things that I said or noticed. I don't know. Like I said, if I want to take the time out, I can expose it. Hold on one second. Let me I didn't do an introduction, so it's a little different today. But let's do this. One second. Let me get rid of that overlay. Here I am, just chilling at the room, and it's beautiful weather out there in North Carolina. I'm enjoying it. So again, I checked out the video, and now it's so strange that the video. Actually, that video is an interview that I did with a brother named Amun Nuba. And I'm like, but wait a minute, what's going on here? So, it's been banned in 73 countries. I'm like, but what did we say? I went back, checked out a couple of stuff, and there's nothing said there, except for Panabayanan's name. Sabian and stuff like that. I gotta really go into that, and I don't know if Amanuma himself, what he has done in terms of his, copyright, his claim, his name, could have copyrighted his name. I don't know what is being done, but all I know that is being banned in 73 countries. I don't know what's going on with that, but I try to keep up. So I took a little bit of coffee to keep up, black coffee. I don't do milk or sugar on that. So, wherever, I try reaching out to the brother, but the message, the phone, the message on it was blocked. So wherever the brother's at, I wish him well. You know what I'm saying? I know that he's doing okay. And I know a little, conflicts. And that's what we're going to get into, because a brother had wrote to me. I mean, I should have pulled it up. He wanted to know more about conflict in the third party. So I'm going to spend a little time on that, talking about conflict and exposing the third party. Now, we can look at that biblically, right? We can look at that biblically also. What is it? Let me see. I'm trying to bring up. Okay. And that's going to be an Exodus, right? I got that. I got it. What I'm doing is I'm just preparing my notes to show you exposing in biblical content how conflict between two people or it's usually there's a third party. So we got to expose the third party in order to reconcile that conflict. And that's what I was referring to. And also you find that also in excuse me, I should have done this ahead of time. I like I said, my other laptop had a lot of this. Yeah. My other laptop had all this in there. So I'm trying to look at it. So a lot of people, they speak bad about Scientology and stuff like that. It's just, like I said, you can extract information from everywhere. So I'm not going to validate certain things. You know what I'm saying? It's not that. I'm not going to propagate certain things. That's up to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a polypath. I like to take things from different things. And also, I don't have, like I said, I don't have it here in my computer, but I did have some scrolls, and I could show you in the Master Secrets and the scrolls how it addresses this point about conflict between two people. And then thirdly, I look at the third party. So the brother wanted me to expound a little bit on that. I'm going to do that. I wish I could find the again the life skills courses. Home. Let me look at this here. Online courses. Here it goes. Handling conflicts. This one is called. And so we're gonna speak about this. You know what I'm saying, about this handling of conflict. Just give me a second. I'm just getting everything ready, waiting for people to come on in also, if they're gonna come on in. Hey, Raul Bat, Earl Dawkins. Earl Dawkins. Raul Bat is an older. He's ready. Okay, let me do this here. I'm just preparing things over here. Okay, just to give me a little. Okay, so the solution to conflicts. Now, a lot of this stuff, like I said, you can find it, and it's just, you can find it in many different schools of thoughts, because they want to teach an initiative of how to handle conflicts. You know what I'm saying? So that they can become an ambassador to their particular school of thought. You know what I'm saying? So the cause of violence, right? and conflict among people and nations, that has been studied for many years. Many, many years. Okay. Many great nations that were once the center of the earth, or the center of the world, not the earth, but the world. Remember, the earth and world is two different things. But many, many great nations that were at the epic, right, of the world, such as at one time Kemet, Tamare, Kemet, and they disappear. Well, they, like Egypt, they disappear, right, into the dust. They became the unseen. Remember, the unseen becoming seen for a while, and then back to the unseen. I like to generalize it like that. Proper generalization, not a hasty one, a proper one. But when they were active, they were once very active, those civilizations. But today, they're still relevant. I mean, today there's still practices, and more when scholars or archaeology, when they go out and they do their studies, they unearth and they tell the story of these civilizations and the problems that they probably had in terms of violence and conflict that's being studied. So, when they study these ruins and these archaeologists, anthropologists, and when they study these cities, they find that there were many conflicts that they had to overcome. Many, many conflicts. Even with all the works, wisdom, the knowledge that they had, the overstanding, and all the good wishes of human history is still built on conflict. According to this, it's still built on conflict. I do see. I'm an optimist, also. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe there are civilizations that was built on not having the conflict was so minimal. So they had some unification. There weren't that much of a conflict. But the ones that you study that had a lot of conflicts, right? There's something to be known about it, right? And you ask the question: who, why, where, when, and why? Why these conflicts happen? So people study this. If you go into Scientologists, they study. They have taken works, abstract works, peer-reviewed work, and stuff from scientists out there, and they put into a collage and made themselves a doctrine. And also, some of these scientists also have certain beliefs. Some of them are Scientologists. Some of them could be Christians. Some of them could be Muslims. So a lot of that comes to play. So now, it has been found with these observers of conflict, historians and stuff, that there is a law, specific laws that goes with all conflicts. It shows it's so what they call what's going on, papi. Bienvenido. It shows this conflict. It shows that there is a law, or some type of law. Remember, the law is constant. It's the purpose of, it's the nature of. There's something happening with conflicts. And what they're finding, you could read this up, you could do your research if you want, and look into certain university libraries, whatever, and look up the conflicts and the different empires and the conflict amongst people. And you see that this law seems to be that a third party, this is the law according to this, that a third party must be present and unknown in every quarrel for a conflict to exist. Check that out. Look at it really, really careful. Reason this out. Must be present and unknown in every quarrel for a conflict to exist. See? That's what I was alluding to. So the brother asked the question, can you go into further to deeper? And I'm going to go deep into it. We're going to reason this out together for this class. Give me 1 second while I check. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. So a quarrel, you quarrel with somebody, that's an angry argument, right? Or a fight. Or a conflict, that's a conflict. That's a serious disagreement or an argument. When you quarrel with somebody, you have a disagreement, you have an argument, right? Usually, one that goes on for a long time. Those quarrels, you've seen that go for a long time. You know, why this person always quarreling, argument? Why this person don't get along with this person? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? So a party is a person. You got one party, which is a person. And a third party is the third person in a conflict between two people. Now, it could be a third person, or sometimes I even take it further and say it could be an organization. Some type of principles or rules and regulations or principles that is taught to an organization, a club, a group, that is unknown, enters and is causing this quarrel between two people. Now, that it's not part of the quarrel. It's not part of the conflict between the two people, but it's the one causing it. You get it? It's like, bang, I interject this or I influence his mind or whatever, right? And then I just exit my way out and watch those two people go at it. You know what I'm saying? And watch this quarrel and this. You know what I'm saying? This is also a study that's done in the military. This is clandestine, covert operations is done like this. I mean, this is just a law when it comes to dealing with conflict and quarrels. Now, the reason why this is important to us because it's in family life. With our children, you see this quarrel going on in family. Again, we look for the third party because remember, a third party must be present and unknown in every quarrel for a conflict to exist. That's the law. I didn't make it. That's natural nature. I didn't make that law. It's just natural nature. So for a quarrel to occur, that unknown party must be active in producing it between two potential opponents, right? A third party in order for that conflict to exist. It's like a boxing match, right? There's a third party there that's causing that boxing match to go on and on. He said this, there's that belt, there's that organization, the boxing administration, the boxing association. That's the third party that's causing because they want that bag. They, the awards, the belt, and so on. So they want that belt. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta expose. You can go deeper into it. And for the sake of the brother, I mean, this is Ramasu Rawabat Mukhtar. So this quarrel that goes on and on between people and nations, a lot of time, the law is telling you that for this to occur, there's an unknown party that must be active in producing it. In the cut. The third party must be present in the cut. They're there, unknown. In order for those conflicts to exist, So, while it's commonly believed to take two to make a fight, that's commonly believed that it takes two, right, to make a fight. A third party must exist and must develop it for actual conflict to occur. Point blank. You got two dudes arguing. The girl's the third is exposed. The girl's the third party that they're arguing about, or the object is the third party. So the third party is often the person who no one think it is. Hidden, bro. This is deep. Usually, it's a person that nobody think who it is, who is in the area but denies any part of the conflict. Yeah, you see people quarreling. Yeah, usually that person is there, but nobody knows that they're there. They hiding, they're unknown. The hidden third party, who sometimes seems to support only one side, will be found to be the person who caused the conflict in the first place. So the third party law is useful to resolve conflict in many areas in life. Resolve means to solve a difficulty. It is the cause of war. So if you want to solve that conflict between two parties, right? We're going to go into deeply into that of how can you resolve that? How can you reconcile? So once these two fellas, they're shouting bad names at each other, fighting and hitting each other, no one else is around, right? So they, of course, cause a fight, right? The truth is that a third party started the conflict before the men came to blow. Before they came to, those blows at each other, there was a third party that caused the conflict. It's simple. We see it in everyday life. This is a law. Finding out how the fight started, you will find incredible information that is very hard to believe, man. You know that. That's through experiences. That is the trouble. When something is incredible, it is too easily not believed. You know what I'm saying? One way to hide things is to make them incredible. One way to hide things is to make that incredible. And we're going to go into that when we go into Exodus 5:1 with the conflict between Moses and Egypt. Who's third party? Huh? You study this. For example, worker A, worker B has been arguing. They get into a fight. Each one blames the other one. Neither person is correct. So the argument does not resolve since its true cause is not found out. You will never resolve a conflict if you don't find out that third party. Yeah. One looks into such cases thoroughly. So you find something, when you go in deeply into it, you find it hard to believe. Oh, wow, I never believed that that maybe the wife of the worker A has been sleeping with the worker B and complaining to each one of them about the other one. Happen. That's, people experience that out there. That's relationship. Farmers and the ranchers, we've been fighting for years to continue conflict. There's no reason for fight there's no reason for the fight. That it doesn't make any sense, right? When this farmer, this rancher has been fighting. Yet it continues and does not resolve. A close search finds that the third party was the banker. The banker who due to the money, who due to the money a farmer and rancher lose in the fighting, and is able to loan each side money. Therefore, he keeps the fight going on, and he will get their land completely if they both lose. You know what I'm saying? So this conflict between farmers and ranchers and blah, 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 and you see a lot. And you look at I'm a big Western fan. You look at the cowboy. The banker is the cause of it. The banker or the person that loan money on one side, loan money, and wants to see you lose. Wants to see you lose so they can take your property. Huh? Simple. Yet incredible to believe for some people. You know what I'm saying? So if you look over personal quarrels, group conflicts, and even national battles, you will find that the third party if you search hard enough. The third party be there. He will be suspected by both of the people fighting. If suspected at all, though it is unlikely, yet careful documentation finally finds it to be true, this information becomes very useful. So sometimes two parties, two persons or parties are quarreling, will accidentally choose the wrong person to blame. That happens. This stops the quarrel for a while, but since it is not the actual third party, the conflict doesn't end. Instead, after a while, more quarrels occurs. Because the true third party is, again, hidden in there. You have to seek them out. This is how you can tell whether you found the correct third party. Two nations fighting should meet and locate the actual third party. They will always find one if they look, and they can find the right one if it is actually will be found to exist. When two people find the correct third party, they do not fight the person. They usually just avoid him. You know what I'm saying? They avoid him. Upsets in marriage are common. Marriage can be saved by both parties really sorting out who caused the conflict in the first place. The third party. Look at there may have been in the whole history of the marriage several third parties, but only one at a time. I'm telling you, I experienced this personally. I used to go to work and do my thing. When I came home, my wife was quarreling with me. They were fighting me and arguing with me. When I found out that while I was at work, she was going upstairs to the sister upstairs, and they were hanging out, back then, with the kids. They had kids. They hang out in the kitchen, have coffee and whatever, and they talk and blah, 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 blah. But this girl had a problem with her boyfriend and kicked him out, you know what I'm saying, was single with some kids. And then my wife would go up there and chat with her for a while up there, you know what I'm saying, and could come down and take it out on me. I had to go to the sister and say, hey, listen, what are you telling my mate, man? What's going on? I'm not so and so and so and so. Oh, why are you doing that? I exposed her. And in front of my mate, I told her, you see? But my mate also, sometimes they don't want to not believe it, but they want to take the side, because they felt so sorry for the girl, That's her coffee buddy. Oh, maybe they're hiding secrets from each other. I don't know what's going on. But I wasn't involved in it. That I could tell you. So quarrels between a single person and an organization are nearly always caused by a third party or third group. You got that single person arguing with some type of organization. Yeah, it's caused by a third party or third group. You got to find that third group. You see this happening amongst the Israelites, Christians, and Muslims. You see this happening all the time. You got to find the third group. A lot of time, you got Israelites quarreling with Christians. A lot of time is a Muslim, and the third party is some type of organization, that wants to cause division between Israelites and Christians, or Israelites and Muslims and maybe a Christian. You got to look, again, the third party is there. The organization person involved should get together, isolate the third party by talking and showing each other all the information they have been given about each other. It's like what they said. This is what they said about you. Well, then what they say about me, and on and expose that information. Who said that? This person. Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they don't even want to believe it. Sometimes they even want to just hide it because, again, they don't want to shame nobody. You know what I'm saying? But that's the way to open up the communication. So government and people who take part in riots could be gotten back into agreement if you get someone to represent each side and have them tell each other what they have been told or who told them. A lot of times you see these riots, like the January 6th and all that. You see these riots. There's a third party there. People are gonna say, yeah, we know what the third party was there. Yeah, but that's a description that is a explanation that you can see that a display that is a display of how a third party could incite riots and stuff against people and you know what I'm saying. A lot of people are going to say, oh yeah, but it's riot, but they're going to be like, well, they said this, but they're right about it. You know what I'm saying? They're right about it. But again, it's a thin line between love and hate. It's a thin line between right and wrong. So such conferences often fall back into accusing each other and blaming each other in some conferences. So they must stick to just naming what was said by other people so they can be successful finding the third party. What's been said, who said it, why they said it. Let's target that. Let's not look at each other and quarrel and say, you know what I'm saying? You have to be, that's where honesty and integrity comes in. So the third party law does not mean that there are no bad conditions that can cause a conflict. There are. But they are usually able to handle by meeting unless there is a third party working to keep the conflict going. You know what I'm saying? So in history, sometimes we get bad opinions of the past when it's told by two people who are blaming each other, and the third party behind the conflict has been spotted and noticed. When we talk about the cause of war and what was hidden behind them, we should by saying third parties. There are no conflict which cannot be solved unless the people who are causing them, the third parties, remain hidden. This is natural law. Natural law. You cannot reconcile or cannot be solved. This conflict cannot be solved unless people who are causing them, that third party, if they remain hidden, it's always going to exist. Because that's natural law. Is it worth knowing? Use it in any conflict, an area where you are trying to bring peace. So if you're trying to bring peace in any area, then you have to look at the third. You have to have that fortitude. You got to look into the third party. You know what I'm saying? Third party. You know, and that conflict. So interesting. So you see this for my Bible thumpers, for people that hold the Bible. Yeah. Well, these are lessons also that we learn. You could see this in Exodus, and I'll start with Exodus 5:1. When after Moses and Aaron went in, they told the Pharaoh, thus says, now check this out. I should share this so you can also read it. I'm just going to go into the little biblical narrative here so that you can see. Okay, here. All right, hold on one second. Let me put it over here like this. So you see that? Exodus. That after Moses and Aaron went in, now I'm just using this biblical narrative just to show you that these are laws that have been put in this Bible, and that's why a lot of times we read it and we say, "Oh yeah, that's true, because these laws that are the law of conflict, exists. These laws, and so you see it played out. When you study this law of conflict, as a matter of fact, when you study script writing, what they call, you got to have conflict. You got to have an antagonist and a protagonist, and the dialogue is based on usually drama, conflict, back and forth. But the third party is hidden. You know what I'm saying? You learn that when you go deeply into script writing. And that's that you got emotional stories, you got the action story, the emotional story, then you have what they call a hidden story, what they call the backstory, that you don't it's not out in the open. It's hidden, So, that's a study when it comes to writing. Historians know this. That's a story when it comes to writing. Good content when it comes to lyrical writing, especially with script writing. Okay, so here in the scripture, after where Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, that says, "Who said the Yahuwah of the Elohim, the Yahuwah Elohim of the Israelites?" Let's see exactly how that reads here. Who said it? The Lord, which is Yahuwah, right? Again, Yahuwah Elohim Yisrael. Okay, that means the Elohims of the Israeli Elohims of the Yahuwah, one who is He, the existing one of the Elohims that is of Israel. Okay, these Elohims that were over. That was the judges, the hierarchy of the Israelites. He was saying, according to their scriptures, what? Let my people go, that they may hold feast until me in the wilderness. Now check this out. He's saying, he told Moses and Aaron to tell the Pharaoh, let my people go. This is Moses speaking unto the Pharaoh, saying, hey, thus says this law, the Elohim, these judges that stands over Israel, these hierarchies, said it to let the people go, that they may hold feast unto me in the wilderness. Okay, we're going on our own, man. We don't want to be part of your society or your, we don't want to be part of that. Why? Because the Elohims of Israel, those judges of hierarchy, those positions of the Elohim, they want something else for us, And thou said unto him, the Lord, again, a God of the Hebrews, who sent me unto thee, saying, let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hitherto they would not hear. Okay? But then again, the Yahweh spoke unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh and say unto him, thus said me, I said, let my people go, that they may serve me. Not you, Pharaoh. They're going to serve me in the wilderness, right? I need to serve you. So then again, the Lord said to Moses, rise up early in the morning, stand before Pharaoh. Now remember, he's in the Sinai. He's out there in the desert. He's got to walk all the way back into Egypt, right? Lord cometh forth the water and says unto him, thus says the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if they will not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon them, upon thy servant, upon thy people, until thy houses, the houses of the Egyptians, shall be full of swarms of flies, and the ground, and so and so and so. So every time Moses went over there, right, what did the Pharaoh do? I'm trying to see something. Okay, I think it's before that. The Pharaoh's heart was hardened each time. And it says God, the Lord, hardened him. I'm trying to find that. Well, refuse to humble thyself before me, and they may serve me. Okay. Trying to. I don't know. Okay. I'm trying to go to the next. No. Yeah. Can't find it. But anyway. It says about the fraud. Yeah. Well, you get the whole gist of it. I'm not going to do all that. So when you go into the scriptures, especially those in the Torah, you see this conflict. Wherever. You see this conflict. Also, you see that in the garden. Who caused a conflict between first man and woman? Because man was like, yo, why do you do that? You know what I'm saying? It was the serpent in the garden, right? The causing the conflict. So always, you can see these lessons come to play. I'm doing good. Yeah, peace, Barn Dog. I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. I'm doing really, really good. I'm ready to go and do some stuff, So I just wanted to come on here early. And my brother asked me, to speak about, he said, very interesting you said about that, the two parties, and there's always the third party to cause a conflict. And he was interested in that. And he says, wow, how can you expound on that, and even the lessons. And I tell him, well, it's found, it's one of the laws of existence. It's one of the laws. Amor. Yeah. It's one of the conflicts, one of the law, what they call the law of conflict, that exists. It's constant. And that first you see that appearing. If you go through the biblical narrative, you see that first law appearing with actually prior to what they say, the Garden of Eden and Adam and all that stuff, there was a war in the heavens. There was a conflict in the war of the heavens. So you got to say, well, who was causing this war between the agreeable ones and the disagreeable. You know what I'm saying? And you can look at the third party on that. So wherever you see a conflict or quarrel or an argument or anything, rest assured there's a hidden third party. So sometimes if you want to reconcile that, you have to really expose it. Because if you don't, or if you find the wrong cause of it, and you don't expose it, what's going to happen is that quarrel and argument going to keep going on, because that entity, that person, that entity is going to continue on, postulating or creating those conflict. It's just the way it is. And that's the way it is. I'm just having fun. So what's going on? Kwame Rayang, all in blessings. So this conflict, rest assured, because of the law of nature, this conflict. You know what? In nature, you see this a lot. Let's say you have a conflict between two viruses. Well, then you got to look into the chemistry of those viruses, right? What's the third party? What is in the chemistry, right? These conditions. Always look to expose the third party. You know what I'm saying? Even when you deal with natural science, when you deal with civilizations, a lot of times civilization, there's an organization. A lot of times you see a lot of conflict. Bankers has been in the midst of a lot of these conflicts. Especially when I look at racism, I see economics. Who's at the fore? Who's hidden there with that economics? You got bankers, these politicians working for certain bankers and stuff and causing conflict, in neighborhoods, because there's a certain third party with an agenda of causing this. And so we have to always be cognizant of this. If you want to get to the core of things, if you want to be that person that can, balance out these quarrels and conflict, like a judge. That's like thinking like a judge. You're supposed to balance things, offer that wisdom. Look at the third party. It's a lot to do with banking. I said you have a lot of conflict out here. You know what I'm saying? A lot of conflict. Amongst people and the writing and this and that. It's just so like I'm telling the brother who asked that question, wanted me to build a little bit on it. That any conflict. You see this conflict going on with a lot of I say Bible people that adhere a lot to the Bible, and like the Christians. You see the conflict because the third party is a doctrine, it's an organization, Calvinist. When you look at it, for those different conflict that they have, and you see there's doctrine of Balaam and the doctrine of Nicotinian, which I spoke about that before. The Calvinists, and that those laws and principles and apostleship and causing again conflict. I love my brothers dearly, but when they're bombarded, when they carry a lot of these doctrine with them, and these influences from organizations, you gotta be careful. And I know that from experiences, because if I receive a certain doctrine and stuff as an answer, and sometimes it causes conflict with people. But I was the type that I had to draw things innately and balance those conflicts, because I looked at the doctrines that was being taught. So we went and experienced that. Yes, as people in Panabayananan, my master would tell you, at one time he was a prejudice. At one time he held certain beliefs. Well, where did he get that from? He was studying Islam. Even in Islam, you can find that conflict, Shia and Sunni. You look at the third party. Who's the third party? And I'm telling you now, a lot of times are those bankers and those people of those economical hierarchy that wanted to control. Only 20% of the population are antisocial, are controlling people. Very small amount, like they say, 1% rule the whole world. It's only a very small percentage that are engaged in this type of practices. You know what I'm saying? And so when you expose that, you know, you look at the life and you says, man, you know how to stay out of the way, and also you know how to resolve conflict with people. You know, you can resolve it, you can reconcile. It says, man, I know why you adhere to this, and you feel that about me and whatever about me, or this and that, and talk about me. I know why, because you're receiving instructions, not from the most high frequency. You're receiving instructions from certain organizations, certain doctrines that snuck on in. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna have to finish here in a few minutes because I got an interruption here. My granddaughter's back. She went out. So again, you know, if you have conflict with anybody and you find yourself in that quarrel, argument, and conflict, if you find that, you know what I'm saying, around you, then look at the third party and expose that. You know, look at it, expose it, you know, look into it, you know, and then make it known, but carefully, because sometimes people don't want to be known, and sometimes the other person that you're quarreling with don't want you to recognize that, because they want to hide, you know, they don't have the fortitude, the willpower to purify themselves and say, oh, you know, and then when you know certain things, they might even get a little. Some people welcome it. Some people welcome the third party, you know, and they want to keep it hidden. You know what I'm saying? Because some people are just argumentative. They love that, and those are people that are being influenced all the time and don't have their own willpower to stand on their, you know, on their own. So they always listening to other people influencing them and telling them about that person, and then you find them in a conflict all the time. Yeah, there are very people that are very so argumentative. Again, it's because they receive, you know, you have to expose that. You're like that, because you're receiving a lot of information, you're receiving a lot of stuff. But let's look at that information that you're receiving. Let's deal with that. You know, we don't have to be at odds with each other, man. I don't need that in my life. You know what I'm saying? But I'm for real. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes these things exist and you got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with it. But the thing is to deal with it in a very, very honest and with integrity, honest, and very, 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 you know, considerate way, gracious way that you deal with it. So again, if you're having those arguments, try to expose, try to look into that hidden third party, especially if it's a quarrel and an argument that continues on and on and on and on. We have to look at that third party. This conflict and arguments that we're having amongst each other as a people, we got to look at those third parties that's involved in it. They're hidden, you know what I'm saying? But expose them. Have the fortitude, stand together and say, we're going to expose this. Why? Because I want to reconcile. Everything is not kumbaya, because there's always going to be that will, you know, and, you know, there's always going to be that, because that's part of the will that we inherited. You know what I'm saying? I say that, inherited, this will. So some of us take the position, or some of us take the negation, which is a positive and negative. Equal on each side of the pole, but to reconcile something, you look at that third party, the one in the middle, expose and see, okay, this is why you doing this. You know what I'm saying? And you look at it. Usually that third party going to pick one person that's going to really resonate with, you know what I'm saying? But you expose that. That's it. You can't. I'm at the age right now. I got no time for those games, man. No, I got no time for those games. I get onto many different podcasts, and they have beef with this and this and that. And I tell them, bro, yeah, I understand that there's a third party involved in this. A lot of times it's YouTube. Many times it's that check. It's money. But hey, I don't. You can't fault. You can't fault people for wanting to survive in terms of monetary things. You know what I'm saying? And getting that check or whatever. So they want to create content that's going to be argumentative and conflict and so. But they're playing a part. They're playing the part for the third party. That's the reason why a lot of people call them agents. You know what I'm saying? They're agents of the third party. Ambassadors of the third party, like to say. You know what I'm saying? That's causing this conflict, that wants to continue this conflict. Because at the end of that conflict and argument, it's going to be prosperity for the third party, profit, prosperity. There's going to be something there for that third party. And that's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm getting almost to the hour mark. And I would just wanted to lay that down for that brother. That great, he just honest and told me that if I can expound a little bit more, and I hope I did, in terms of biblical. And I can't go too much into the Sabaean doctrine with the actual facts and stuff like that because I don't have my laptop. I have everything on my laptop, all those PDF files on my laptop. But I drop my laptop, but once I get it fixed in a couple of weeks, and I'm able to go back in there and pull up certain, quotes from Pat Abba-Yonanan, from the actual facts, even going to the nature of nature too. These laws of pain and pleasure, these laws, the conflict. Again, this is one of the laws of conflict, which is like, the third party. It's unknown and hidden. It's usually the third party that's causing it. That's just a law. It's a law. Once you know these laws and you're able to apply these laws and look into the purpose of things, the nature of things, now you're able to be balanced. It says, so you see two people arguing, is something they're arguing about that's hidden. Something is hidden there. I seen two young ladies one time argue in the supermarket, and you thought that it was about the food, that this person wanted that in a sale or whatever, the product, the item, but it turned out that they were arguing because, and they didn't even know that there was a male involved that was sleeping with both of them, but saying this, that, and that. He was in the cart. That came out later on. I was like, wow. In the neighbor, I was like, wow. They were arguing in the supermarket, but they were from the same neighborhood. And I was like, wow. So all this time, these people are in the supermarket, they're arguing and they don't like each other. There's conflict, quarreling going on. And then they'll come to the block and the one go one side comes to find out it was the male, the husband, sleeping with the other. Oh, man. So when that came out and that was exposed, I think the sister came and apologized to the other sister, says, oh, man. And they got rid of that dude. Because he didn't know how to do his thing right. I believe, not that I believe, but I respect, the whole idea of polygyny if it's done properly for economical reasons. But you have to be, again, you have to have, again, the willpower to resolve conflict. So you got to be knowledgeable, cognizant enough to understand these laws. Once you understand these laws, I'm in conflict with you. Well, since I'm in conflict with you, that means somebody told you something. All right. Well, I want to find out who told you that. I'm going to look for that third party. And usually the person will say, no, forget it. They don't want you to find out the third party. They can't mess with that. They can expose that third party. But I'm like, I want to find out the third party, that hidden source. Where's this coming from? Or if you're coming at me, arguing about my beliefs and biblical stuff, and then let's expose the third party. Let's go. That's how I expose the doctrine of Balaam, expose that, those different the doctrine of Nicotinian. There's other organizations that came in and interjected, and that's what they call spirit beings. They're reprogrammer, they're interjectors into natural nature. Someone, those are spirit beings. So some of us have those spirit beings that interject into our natural nature, programs us. They call spirit beings. And we're going to do a build on that one day. We'll talk very in depth about spirit beings and stuff like that, and how people could spirit cooking and all that stuff, what they call magic and spirit cooking, black magic and stuff like that, and how they're able to cause, again, interruption in natural nature, just a little interruption in natural nature. But again, they're not causing, it's unnatural, is still natural, because the word natural is there. It's just the undoing of the natural. It's still natural, but they know how, again, to cause a conflict. And now they cause a conflict, they're able to interject, reprogram something within your natural nature. You see? Because I always said, we got a tri-being. We learned this in Sufi, tri-being. I see myself a certain way, right? Through one lens. But then outside of you, people see you at another lens. A lot of times, the way people see you and the way you see yourself, it's at odds. It's not the same. I'm like that. How you see? You know what I'm saying? But when a person says, oh, they see you like this and this and that, like a mystic or something, and it adds up to how you see yourself and it inspires you, then by all means, I rock with it. But then there's a third perspective, and that's natural nature, how you really are. Because as children, as we grow up, we pick up programming from our mothers and our fathers, and then genetic programming, and certain genetics are more amplified than other genetics in our family because maybe of the foods we eat or the conditions we're living in. Those things come out. You know what I'm saying? That's natural nature. Those things come out. So we're bombarded by this programming, but when you really go inside, you see the way that you got to know these laws of nature. You got to recognize what is natural nature, fatar, right? Fatar, right? Nature. You want to go out and see what those laws and to see how you're living those laws. That's how you find your true self. That's where you're going to find your true being. It's when you, again, connect to the source of it all within the all, natural nature, right? And you see these laws, and how closely are you, those natural nature, how closely are you living this natural nature? Instead of the programming that's been programmed in us, because that's another perspective. And then the people how they see, you know what I'm saying? Well, when you get into the natural nature laws, and you learn it, and you learn how to undo all those other programming and get into the natural nature, then you get to see your true self. And be honest. If it needs work, it needs work. Do the work. That's connecting to natural nature. That's connecting to the source of it all. You know what I'm saying? Some people will lean more into astrology and astronomy and whatever to try to. No, that's just part of it. Right? No, because that creates doctrine and dogma. That's doctrine and dogma, right? No, not the laws. The law of is the purpose of, is the nature of. There are laws that are constant in natural nature. Get to know those laws. The law of pain and pleasure, the law of blood lineage. Again, one of these laws of conflict. Which side are you on, one or the other side, or are you? You know what I'm saying? A balancer. Not a third party, but the balancer. The recognizer, the recognition. You recognize that. Those law of conflict. And are you living it? That you're able to, again, resolve conflict. Reconcile people. Resolve conflict. You know what I'm saying? And now you're sitting on that seat. You know what I'm saying? Not like these judges out here, no. I mean, they're reconciling certain conflicts and things like that, but a lot of some of them are biased, and some of them it's all about banking, business. You see, at the core of it, economics, habitat and environment. We have grown so much, and we have as we live our life and our family life and everything, there are people that are invested in the economics, macroeconomics, microeconomics. They're invested in that. And so they learn how to, survive, ground themselves in certain industries, industries, raw materials. They learn how to ground themselves in that. You know what I'm saying? And like the conflict that's happening in Puerto Rico, all of that is because of the environment. People want that environment. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have this conflict with weather and whatever, and washes everything out, and then something grows again, right? But then you say to yourself, who's causing these hurricanes? Why are these hurricanes always coming through? Again, that's another conversation. That's another discussion. But there's people that, again, lean to the supernatural is still natural. It's just a super and enhanced natural sense. So some people lean down to the supernatural. I like to balance it. Natural and supernatural. I like to look at the supernatural, but at the same time, the natural nature. It's the core of it, because nature is at the core of supernatural, nature, natural. It's there at the core. You know what I'm saying? So again, learning these laws, just to reiterate, learning these laws, and then learning how to use these laws for the benefit, not only yourself, your family, and the whole humanity. You know what I'm saying? As to, again, ground yourself, transmute yourself, resonate all these laws and, resonate, So that's where I'm at. Anyway, all in blessings to everyone. I want to thank everybody for came through. Hey, Bondo, peace. My Facebook went out because my battery. Yep. Yeah, I got to charge my phone, so I can't see nobody on my Facebook. But anyway, it's here. So again, to the brother, thank you very much for asking me to do this, because there's a lot of conflict going on. A lot of conflict going on in YouTube or whatever, but a lot of time I stay out of the way because it's just the way they're making their bag for some of them. And some of them I understand that is because, if I can explore and open up and say, hey, the third party is here, this is what's going on, you know what I'm saying? Then I will offer it. You know what I'm saying? I will come in and just offer that. I don't know everything, but I seek to know that which I don't know. And again, it's all about being a naturalist and knowing how to balance things in your life, and also in balance in everyone's life, and how they're resonating. You look at that and how to balance that. You know what I'm saying? Important. Some people don't like that because, again, they have an agenda, whatever, and they don't want to expose a hidden sense. But then, if you're honest and integrity, I kind of, think that's very important qualities that we have to harness. I've met people that are like, nah, man, you got to be cunning, you got to be wise, like I said, you got to be cunning, and nah, no such thing. You can't be nice and whatever. I'm like, yeah, well, I give you the rope. You can take that rope, tie yourself, and save yourself, or you can just put it around your neck and you can hang yourself. It's on you. I'm just giving you a rope. That's it. That's all I can do. And I know everything, like I said, I know everything is not a kumbaya moment, everything's not so perfect. You know what I'm saying? But the perfection is something that we can seek after to continue the perfection. Again, perfection is something that you have to constantly postulate. You have to constantly keep up, like a marriage, right? It doesn't go on auto drive. You gotta involve yourself in it. You gotta work with it. You gotta move with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way that I'm thinking for now. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way I am. I mean, I have good teachers. I've seen it. I've looked back at my life and I've seen the lessons. And it's not about going to the past or future. It's about the now. So when you check out the word to know something, K-N-O-W, take the K away. You got the now. You know what I'm saying? Live for the now, which is to know. You know what I'm saying? Not belief and past, believing in the future. That's unseen. If you know how to use the unseen, the formless, and to bring form to something for the now, by all means. But if that's not your intention, that's not how you're rolling, then the unseen is going to engulf you, because that's blackness, and you're going to just, in a vacuum, you're just going to be lost in there. You know what I'm saying? I told a brother that I had a vision. I tell you, I had a vision that I was like, ooh, and like a black ether space, man. I was like, oh. And then at first I was like scared, but then I said, no. I got into a lotus position and was floating around in the ether. And I was just floating. And it felt good. I woke up and I felt good, because fear, you know what I'm saying, is going to block you to survive, your survival. Fear is going to block it, or it's going to push you. What that fear did was to push me to say, oh, I can't do nothing about this. I'm in this projection, you know, this vision. You know, let me just lay back, enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Tell something about my character. At the same time, it also helped me to realize certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm growing just like everybody else. I'm learning, you know, and I'm also, you know, like, I've been looking, check this out. I got Pluto TV, right? So they got a classic TV section of the Ed Sullivan Show. So I've been watching a lot of Ed Sullivan Show. And last night they had the Friars Club. All these comedians, you know, because the Friar Clubs, they get up there and they make fun. They said if you don't make fun at someone, then you don't love them. To love somebody is to ridicule them. To love, that's their belief in the Friars Club, you know. So they get up there and they roast each other, right? And so they were roasting Ed Sullivan. I watched it different. I watched how each of these comedians, these politicians, each of these reporters, journalists, I watched the way they engaged the public. You know, it was a Friars Club. There's a lot of people in there. It was a dinner, right? And I watched the way they engaged, what they said, you know what I'm saying, their mannerism. And I was like, wow, you learn about, and it took me back to the course I took at New York University, communication course. And we had to get up there on the podium. I didn't have a speech prepared. So what I did, I took a book and I read the book. As I'm reading the book, I'm enacting, I'm putting some content, I'm putting some emotion into some of the words. You know, I'm learning how to public speak. You know what I'm saying? Public speaking. Learning how to use proper dictions and articulations and so on, so on, so on. So I was revisiting that and I was saying, wow, so much to learn. So much that you were exposed to, but now re-expose yourself and you learn to say, I'm at that state of mind that I can go back to a lot of these lessons and stuff, even my Ansarullah University lessons and stuff, and take it to another, expand that to another level. You know what I'm saying? And then I look at the actual facts and Pataruk and all that, because Pataruk goes all the way back to Sufi. Patarik, that's the path, right? Pataruk, you know, that goes all the way back. That's, again, the experiences and the experimentation of Panabayanan and those, and how he wrote about his experiences and his experimentations and stuff like that, and his level of reasoning, and he wrote that. As a Sufi, that's how we live our life. Those experiences, experimentation. You know, I always tell people, refer the movie back to Circle of Iron, and that's the story. Look at the story of Moses and Khidra. You know, those experiences and the experimentation that was going on. You got to look at it from that context. You got to look at it from that frame of mind, cognition. You know what I'm saying? And see, how can I extract lessons in this? How can I beneficially use some of these techniques? How can I beneficially use some of these, you know, ways of lessons as to further my skills? You know, because one of the important energy center we have is the resonance. It's the what? The halak. right? Zoom, quabat, that throat energy. So with resonance, we resonate. So using that and using those skills, we get to be each one. And I noticed that they did an interview on Marlon Brando, on James Cagney, you know, when the bad. And for those who don't know, these are icon back in the days, icon in the 40s and 50s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And then when they did the interview, and a lot of times you look at television, you look at I like a lot of the journalists and the way they speak and how they have to articulate themselves and they clearly, you know, you look at people that have, you know, prosper a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go to a job interview, is the way you communicate yourself. It will depend whether you get the job or not. Especially if you're going to work something like customer service or you're going to work at a front desk. I worked a lot as a front desk at hotels, reservationist, you know, in hotels, because I was able to engage people. I was able to speak clearly, you know what I'm saying? And then people that had a heavy accents, but they were still able to communicate efficiently, you know, articulate properly. You know what I'm saying? They were still using certain skills, and that, you know, helped them get the job as a front desk. You know what I'm saying? But then I went into audit because I was good with numbers and stuff, overnight audit and stuff like that, with more money. But still, as a front desk representative, customer service also on the telephone. Yeah, some people have that telephone voice. Some people speak on the phone, you can't understand a word they say. And it's not to downside certain cultural expressions, because that's important. But when you seek, if you come from one culture and you're trying to seek employment and trying to resonate with other cultures, best to know, you better know some of the skills of articulation. Like if I was to go to China, I better know those diphthongs very well and what's being said, and I have to learn that. Or in Japan, whatever, or any other culture, I have to learn those, what they call diphthongs, those movements of vowels and consonants, and I have to know this. I have to study it and know it so I could, you know, properly, you know, communicate with certain people, you know. But anyway, that's how that is. I'm going to leave it there. And listen, all in blessings to you all. And if you have any questions, by all means, you know, if you're on my YouTube, you can put in a comment area and I'll get the alert. You're on my Facebook. You can also hit me on the messengers and stuff like that. So I hope that not I hope, but you know, we just exposed, we just went expanded. We just expanded more on that topic of conflict. You know, we can see this conflict at work. It's one of the laws, conflict, or the laws of conflict, is that the third party, there is a third party involved. That's unknown, hidden, unknown. There is a third party involved. You can rest assured. No conflict is going to exist if there's not a third party. Facts. That's just the law. I didn't make that law. That's just the law. That's it. You could take it and cut it any which way you want. You're going to find that. You know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, you know, all in blessings and what do?